Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentary is by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilanand. So let's get started. We are currently discussing the several demons that come from time to time to try to kill Krishna, and Kansa sends them. So today's satsang we will study the episode Defeating Bakasur. Day by day, Krishna and his friends took the cows to graze in the meadows of Vrindavana and then returned home in the evening after enjoying a delightful outing. During one such outing, the boys took the cows to the banks of the Yamuna river for a drink of water. Waiting there was a gigantic bird with a mighty beak. The moment Krishna came by, the bird snapped up Krishna and swallowed him. Everybody, including Balarama, was shocked to see what had happened. They didn't realize that this bird was a demon known as Bakasur, who was a friend of Kansa and who had gone there in order to destroy Krishna. However, the moment Krishna entered Bakasur's throat, the divine boy became hot as fire and scorched the throat of the demon, forcing Bakasur to spit him out. Then Krishna quickly destroyed him. When Bakasur died, the gods rejoiced because they were afraid of that terrible demon. They showered flowers on Krishna and praised him. When the children returned home for the night, they were eager to tell the story of their great adventure with Bakasura and describe how Krishna had destroyed the demoniac creature. Mystical meaning. In Sanskrit, the term Bak refers to speech, to words. Bakasura is one who is too vocal, too verbose, too caught up in the illusions of words. That's why we sometimes say, bak bak mat karo, which means don't talk too much. When your spirituality becomes confined to words only, then you must know that Bakasur has snapped up your aspiration. You will find that when many people read the scriptures, they are totally preoccupied with the words. How has this word been formed? What was the root of it? Did Krishna mean this or that? Sometimes people argue for hours about words, but nothing really is gained by it. When this happens, one is involved with Bakasur. In ancient fields, words are given the greatest emphasis. So the majority of scholarly people come under the influence of Bakasur. The tendency to identify wisdom with verbosity is Bakasur. If an aspirant becomes overly interested in being recognized as an intellectual who can handle spiritual language in a masterly fashion, and all his spirituality becomes a fancy gymnastics of words, then he is being dominated by Bakasur. If due to ignorance an aspirant believes he can encompass God with words alone, and those words are related to shallow sentiments alone, then he is under the influence of Bakasur. However, if an aspirant is sincere, he will overcome this demon in his personality. Although he continues to deal with words skillfully, his attention goes beyond them. As his consciousness expands, he becomes a devotee of God and uses words to express the more profound aspiration of his heart. God or Krishna becomes the topic of his thought and the central impetus behind his speech. By doing so, he goes beyond speech and Bakasur is annihilated. In the Gita, there is a statement, Shabda Brahmati Vartate. A devotee goes beyond Shabda Brahman. Brahman that is expressed in words. It is only when you defeat Bakasur and rise beyond the illusion of words that you are moving towards the highest goal, self-realization, in a most dynamic way. So let's move to the next episode, Destruction of Aghasur, the gigantic python. One early morning, when Krishna was about 5 years old, he and his friends went to the forests of Vrindavan with their calves. On that day, they had planned a special picnic in the forest, so everyone carried some food with them. While the cowherd boys were immersed in play, a demon named Aghasur was secretly watching them, with a burning desire in his heart to bring about their destruction. Aghasur was related to Putana, the demoness who had been destroyed by Krishna in his infancy, as well as to Bakasur, the demon that Krishna had recently destroyed. He had been sent by Kans to do away with Krishna, and this terrible demon was more than happy to carry out the order. Aghasur assumed the form of a gigantic python with a body that was like a mountain extending for 4 miles or more. This immense figure stretched itself out, blocking the path of the children, and opened its jaws, which appeared like a mountain cave with the lower jaw touching the earth and the upper jaw touching the clouds in the sky. Deep down in the mouth there was darkness. The tongue presented itself as a velvety road, red in color, and from within the cavern blew a breeze. It was not a delightful breeze, but rather an envenomed breeze, carrying with it a special stench. The eyes of the python glared like forest fires. When the children came upon this mighty form, they didn't realize that it was a python. They just moved and thought it was some sort of cave in Vrindavan that they had not yet explored. Expecting Krishna to follow behind them, the other cowherd boys entered into the open mouth, singing and dancing all the while, which was just what the demon was hoping for. Krishna, of course, realized what was happening. Knowing that the demon was trying to devour his friends, Krishna entered the mouth and moved close to the stomach. There he assumed a gigantic form and stopped the passage of air through the lungs of that python. In great pain the serpent died, and all the cowherd boys, revived by the nectarine rays emanating from Krishna, emerged safely. Then a flash of lightning emerged from the body of the demon and entered Krishna. Mystical meaning: Aghasur is the principle of sinfulness. Sin has the root in asmita or egoism. Egoism, with its open jaws of attachment and hatred, raga and dvesha, is that great monster. The path of pleasure is its velvety tongue. This strange Aghasur is everywhere, and people move into its headlong. They are digested and recycled by Aghasur again and again through countless cycles of birth and death. Souls that are caught in the realm of Maya, souls that are caught in the bondage of the karmic process, are as if within the open jaws of Aghasur. However, if one were to have Krishna with him, when he enters into the jaws of Aghasur, he will be saved. No matter how full of ignorance, illusion and temptation the world may be, devotion to God will choke the throat of Aghasur. The world will no longer lure you to create karmic entanglements. You will live in the world as a liberated soul without creating karma. Krishna's entering into that giant mouth is symbolic of divine love, entering within the realms of one's ego, entering within the fabric of one's mind. When Krishna is brought within the range of your ego, your sense of individuality gradually begins to die. It undergoes a transformation. What was at first a Rajasic Tamasic ego becomes an increasingly Sattvic ego. Eventually, even that Sattvic ego will be transcended. The moment you are able to transcend your ego, there is a lifting of the veil of time and space and a glimpse of eternity. Such transcendence of time and space through the experience of samadhi, which is a superconscious state, is brought out in the following episode in Krishna's life, in which Brahma creates a unique test of Krishna's power, and that episode we will discuss in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.